All guests come to you via the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. And we welcome Kendrick Perkins to the program. Perk, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. We just saw you over on TV on ESPN right now. We know you got a busy schedule. Thank you for joining us. Chris Watkins, Kyle Draper here. How you doing, Perk?
Chris, Kyle, what's going on, my brothers? I appreciate y'all having me on. And look, I'm not too busy to ever jump on with y'all.
Oh, hey, Perk, you know I was about to come at you, man, because I was like, man, Perk too big for me now. You know what I mean? He getting that ESPN money. You know, that's different money to that NBC Sports Boston money back in the day.
Don't you start.
You know you my guy, Perk. Yeah. Let me start right here, Perk. When was it that you started to believe in the Sacramento Kings? Because you've been extremely vocal as of late, saying they're going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. What was the moment where you said, you know what, these Kings, they're real, they're about it?
Well, I mean, I predicted them to make the playoffs at the beginning of the season. And here's why.
Hold on, Perk. Hold on. Hey, Perk.
Uh-huh.
I love you. I appreciate you. But when my guy, Mark Spears, said the Kings were going to make the playoffs, you pushed back a little, Perk.
I pushed back at that point, but then I went and revisited it, and then I went on another show and said Mark Spears had a point. They are going to make the playoffs. So right. I do remember that. But look, here's the thing. I'm not about to get into it with you today.
Yeah, you see I'm ready for a fight, right? You see I'm on one today.
But I got a few things. One, I remember being in Oklahoma City, and this is what after I retired, and I went down to visit, and this is when the Paul George trade happened. And I remember Troy Weaver. He was so pissed off. He was emotional. And I said, Weaver, you okay? Like, you're about to get PG with Russ. It's going to be okay. It's like, man, I really don't want to give up Sabonis, Perk. He's going to be special. I'm telling you. And I started watching him. I started watching what he did in Indiana, and I'm looking at his IQ, and I'm like, man, listen, this is going to be one of the best bigs. So then he goes over to the Kings, and now I'm watching De'Aaron Fox, the emergence of him, and now all of a sudden you get Mike Brown. Now fast forward to the season. I start watching the little things. I'm watching how they play the game. I'm watching how guys are cutting, knowing that they're not going to get the basketball, but it's going to create an open shot for a guy like Harrison Barnes. I'm watching guys like Keegan Murray, a rookie that plays with such great poise. He's an old soul. Be out there like a vet. No hidden agendas, but the agenda is actually winning. And so I'm watching Malik Monk come in time and time again, be that spark. Lyles, be a guy that's trying to go out there and prove to the world that he still has it. And when I see their defensive system, now, yes, they're going to make mistakes, but they have an identity, and they're tied together. And all of a sudden, the home crowd, I was like, hold on, this team is serious. And the way that the West is so inconsistent, Seattle get home court in the first round, they're going to win that series. In the second round, I still like them because they have an identity, they have a closer, they have a bench, and they're well coached in a championship-type caliber coach like Mike Brown.
Perk, you mentioned Domantas Sabonis. Perk, in your playing day, I know you were a physical presence, but you were also criminally underrated as a passer for a big. What do you enjoy most about watching a guy like Domantas Sabonis move the ball the way he does?
Well, I just think his IQ, right? And I guess he inherited it from his dad, right? But it's just his feel for the game, man. It's being able to pass on time, on target, be able to see the floor, push the rock at times in transition, make the right decision, things to that nature. It's a joy to watch. And when you talk about the best bigs, yes, we talk about Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, AD, but next is Sabonis.
I agree 100% with you, Big Perk, Kendrick Perkins. You can check him out on ESPN. Joining us here, Drapes and Chris. Perk, when you look at the landscape of the West, I know you said Sacramento can make it to the Western Conference Finals, but I believe there's about 6 or 7 teams that can do that. How wild is this Western Conference, and how many legit contenders do you think there are?
Legit, I see about 4, to be honest. 4, maybe 5. Like the Clippers, the Nuggets, Sacramento. If they get to the Western Conference Finals, anything can happen. I'm not sold on the Suns. But then you have the Lakers, and you can't count out the defending champs, although I don't think they're going to be there. So I think it's 4 legitimate teams that has a chance to make it to the West, to make it to the finals and represent. And you know what? We're going to see a whole lot of 7-game series. I strongly believe that. It will not be any sweeps in the Western Conference Finals. None.
Interesting. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, especially with just how even it seems like all these Western Conference teams are. That makes a lot of sense to me. Perk, you played with some of the best players of all time. You played on those Celtics teams. You also played on OKC with KD and Russ and James. What's it like playing in the postseason as a role player, knowing that, you know, those guys are for sure going to get the ball a ton, but every single possession that you have the ball, every little thing you got to do is just has a little bit heightened importance. Can you just speak to the mindset of a role player in the postseason?
Well, actually, that role player role goes out the window because teams are going to adjust, and you're going to have to elevate your game. And you're going to have one of those moments where you actually look like the franchise guy. And I had one of those moments before a few times because guys are going to say, this is a team mentality when you're in a playoff series. Hey, we got to take away him. Let's see if this guy could beat us. And you're going to have to produce. You know, it was a time when I was with the Celtics, the Hawks took us to 7 games. And I averaged around 14, 15 points in that series. We came down to a crucial game 7, and I had to elevate my game at home. 13 points, 10, 11 rebounds, 5 or 6 blocks. Like, it's going to happen. That's why you have that saying, role players play better at home. That's why you fight for home court advantage, because we know the home crowd is not only going to get behind your franchise guys, but it's going to elevate the play of the role players.
You know, was that series when KG and Jaja Pachulia got into it, Perk? Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, that was it wasn't nothing but a little wrestling, a little tag you in.
Right.
A little blood. Oh, man, I accidentally bumped you in the face. My bad. I couldn't off.
Little tiddlywinks. Hey, Perk, we had Paul Pierce on our pregame show the other day when the Celtics were in town. Eddie House was there. I should have had you come through, man. It could have been an 08 Celtics reunion back then.
I mean, you got my number. It wasn't hard for you to give me the invite. Don't tell me after the fact. But you know what? Who need enemies when I got friends like Drake?
Hey, man. Hey, all I know is that when you file your taxes, make sure you include me as a dependent, because without me, big dog, you wouldn't be where you at. You know what I mean? So I want my cut of that, you know?
I got you.
Perk, before we let you go, man, I want to ask you, because I said this on the show the other day with Paul Pierce. I feel like, you know, when you talk about culture of an organization, sure, a coach can establish that, front office, but certain players can come in and change the culture as well. And I thought Domantas Sabonis did that from Sacramento. Do you agree? And I know you play with KG. I feel like he was a culture changer as well.
He was. And I hear stories about how he take young guys up under his wing. And again, that's you have to give a lot of credit to his upbringing. Like, he was raised around basketball, so he has an old soul. But also, we also have to give a lot of credit to Harrison Bourne, a true professional, come in, punch in the clock day in and day out, a champion, know what to bring to the table, know how to sacrifice, because he was part of that first championship with the Golden State Warriors. So it's just those pieces there, man. It just feels like a big family. And I can't wait. It's two teams. 2 arenas that I need to that I'm going to the playoff games. It's the Knicks and the Sacramento Kings.
Ooh, love to hear it.
And I'm not coming there to work. I'm coming there as a fan to enjoy the moment. Okay.
Yo, you got to do that, man. You know, you got to hit me up. I'll take you to some restaurants. We'll hang out. You know, it would be nice to chop it up with you, man.
Absolutely, Chris, Drake. I appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you Appreciate it,
Big Perk. Keep doing your thing, bro, man. Proud of you.
All right, thanks.
That was Kendrick Perkins on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Perk was great.
He's awesome.
Thank you for setting that.
No, that's my guy,
that
man.
That was awesome, man.
I'm surprised he answered. You know, usually when I text him, he might not answer or change his number.
He tried to not answer.
He'd be like, new number, who this? You know what I mean? But he didn't do it. No, that's my guy.
I love how he had his numbers, right? He was like, no, don't get it twisted. Like, I averaged 14 and 11, and I think he said 6 or 7 blocks in that series.
You know how it is. As years go on, he'll be like, I averaged 50.
The fish gets bigger and bigger, right? The fish that you caught gets bigger and bigger.
Exactly.